Hey baby, ring-a-ding, it's me, Hugh Jazz, and today I'm inviting you to a very exciting adventure to see some spots and places around Half-Life 2, which I personally believe stick out in the strangest of ways. From out-of-the-way corners with what might just be a dark secret waiting to be solved, to some, well, better-known places which have baffled me for years ever since I was a little shit. Hey fellas, nice truck, where'd you get it? Nice, what's your name? Now, word to the wise, though, some of these are quite disturbing, so if you're easily offended and are pregnant, I suggest you go watch something else, bitch. Alright, here we go. And, first and foremost, we have this place in Chapter Water Hazard. Now, this spot gives me some grade A heebie-jeebies. I beg your pardon, fellas, I'm not articulate enough to put it into words that would describe it perfectly, but there's something oddly disturbing and even unnerving about this location in particular. We have an entire Soviet-era residential block straddling an old, dried-up canal, except by now we're far enough out of town that all those apartments might as well have been abandoned for a while, possibly even overrun by headcrabs and zombies. If anyone still lives up there, they must be downright miserable. I know I would be. Also note just how quiet it is. You don't hear that city ambience suggesting this place is at least inhabited, which is exactly what makes this place, in my humble opinion, so, disturbing. And, well, since we're out here in the canals, I might as well mention this next spot. Oh, I couldn't possibly pass this one by, you know. Yep, the Resistance hideout with the windmill and the chimes. Everybody knows about this place, literally everybody. It's nestled deep inside the canals, a far cry from anywhere that's even remotely safe or civilized. Needless to say, it's the only time you can hear those wind chimes. No other place exists that has anything like that going on. Just standing here without saying or even doing anything makes you feel equal parts enchanted and plain creeped out. And the way its former residents are just hanging out on top of those makeshift catwalks, both dead with no signs of foul play or murder. I know, there's a headcrab canister right down below and a bunch of headcrabs. Still, is it just me or it looks like almost like they were forced to take cover up here after the headcrab shell landed nearby, only to end up trapped and dehydrated and dying? Kind of ironic if you think about it. Now, of course, it goes without saying that Ravenholm is disturbing enough in and of itself, but there are still a few nooks and crannies that just give you a whole different level of creepy vibes. Note that dark alley to the left.
Good God!
The real question is, why would one exist here to begin with?
Nobody gives a shit!
It's not leading down to anything and the only door is all walled up. Like, I'm no exterior designer, but does this alley even make sense to be here? And the only thing it's got going is that bloody smear on the wall, like someone's been dragged away, because guess what? There is a body right next over with a face like it's been burned clean off with a torch. Speaking of which, did you realize a real diseased person's face was pretty much copy-pasted onto this corpse model? Like, what the hell is wrong with you, Gaben?
I'm Gabe Newell.
I can't speak for everyone, but go ahead and color me creeped out by this location. So the next one right here in town is the Soviet-style high-rise apartment complex. That thing over there. Sure, we see these everywhere in Half-Life 2, there's hardly anything impressive about that, but I don't know if you've ever stopped to notice, but it's the only one of its kind we get to see as far as Ravenholm goes. It almost makes me wonder whether that's exactly where Ravenholm suddenly runs out and another place starts off. Now, I always figured the part of Ravenholm we passed through must be some kind of industrial park, what with all the steelworks and smokestacks everywhere you look, with the residential areas being further away where we can't see them yet. But just thinking how, if this place was real, it would be full of apartments all abandoned or crawling with zombies. That's enough to make my skin crawl. So, Breen, do you guys suck him off as well? And before I finally check out of Ravenholm for good, I'd like to point out another spot where I can't help but get some crazy shivers. This busted window with an empty room right behind it. I know, some folks claim that's where the G-Man shows up lurking in some weird encounter, but I've been there in both the Steam version and the early 2004 build, and guess what? He never showed up his face, not once. If he was going to be there, he must have been ultimately cut before the game was released. Needless to say, it's the only one of its kind in all of Ravenholm. No other window just like that in front of you can be found anywhere else. Now, console commands aside, you can still stack enough barrels to sneak a peek past the window, and it's just as eerie whether the G-Man is there or not. Chapter Highway 17 is still hands down my favorite chapter in the entire game. Yes, it's as linear as they get, but it still feels like I'm almost allowed to get out there and explore, even if just a little. Speaking of creepy stuff, this large house on the cliff facing the sea right before the checkpoint just up Highway 17 is strange to say the least. Can't speak today, and it's got several things to show for it. Upon your arrival, it's gonna be overrun by some combined soldiers. By the time we pass through, it looks like they've already taken care of whoever lived here before. But one thing never stops to make me wonder. If they did murder these citizens, I'm assuming, why bother burning their bodies down? To get rid of some crime evidence? Like, my brother in Christ, who's even gonna arrest them? Metro cops from City 17? So what, you guys think Barney's gay or something? Or to keep them from being consumed by wildlife? That comes to mind too, but since when Overwatch soldiers even give a rat's ass about something like that? We are out in the wastelands, who cares about some critters nibbling on dead bodies, much less civilians or worse, rebels? And those two unnamed headstones nearby? Like, who even does that, bury their dead right next to their house? The folks that lived here, they must have been really touched in the head, big time. No wonder these soldier fellas had to whack them all. And now, just back across the way from the same house is another spot right there on the beach that may or may not somehow tie into the rest of this mystery. This worn-out wooden boat on the beach and the dead guy right next to some supply crates. This area is not known to be infested by antlions, at least there is none to speak of by the time we come through here. Unless someone can point down gunshots, what even got this guy? Elements? Dehydration? I mean, he was close enough that if he wanted, he could have made it just a tad further, and he literally passed out right next to some supply crates with a med kit, which is some next-level irony. What happened here? Now, I'll be honest, I've always hated this stretch of Highway 17, the part where you have to pass through a dark tunnel blocked off by a pileup and a bunch of fast zombies coming at you fast and furious. But that's all noob territory. The one thing about this place that made me wonder is the room behind the locked door right here. And if you squeeze through the vent back here, 2 dead citizens, a male and a female, can be found inside, along with some headcrabs. What's really odd is there is no blood, no visible signs of trauma or gunshots, burned faces like the fella on the beach, no weapons, no signs of struggle or anything to even suggest foul play. And damned if it was the headcrabs that killed them, because wouldn't they have both turned into zombies to show for it? So I'm wondering, were they perhaps on their way up Highway 17 headed for the lighthouse, or even outbound on some errand, when they both got surrounded and trapped inside this room, while the zombies, kept them pinned down on the outside? What knocks this theory off its feet is the fact they are wearing plain civvies. Most rebels you get to meet this far out of City 17 are at least geared up for the weather, so if these two are indeed from the lighthouse, they were pretty reckless to think they could have just ventured out without at least wearing some combat vests. Chapter Anti-Citizen 1 opens up on a lot of action. We can catch some breath while Dog tears shit up with a squad of combined soldiers. It's all scripted but still fun to watch. But that's where things take an unexpected turn in just seconds. Because as soon as Dog leaves the scene, taken off aboard a combined dropship, a piece of audio kicks in, known as the distorted trumpets. Calling it somber hardly does it justice. It's eerie, to say the goddamn least. And I don't even have to say it out loud, but this specific audio track is usually attributed to the G-Man, and it's pretty rarely encountered throughout the game. Now, that's not the only time, but rarely. And the timing couldn't have been any worse. Suddenly, we're all alone. Sure, we can still hear some gunfight in the background, but as far as this immediate moment goes, it's just us. A once beautiful city that's coming down in flames and dust around my ears, and our only hope is the guy with a theoretical degree in physics and a fucking crowbar? Just beautiful.